Most people think 16-8 fasting is enough until their belly fat stops moving. You hit a plateau, the scale mocks you, and you start wondering, what's wrong with my body? The truth? Nothing's wrong with your body. It's your strategy that's incomplete. You've only unlocked the first level of fasting. There's a higher level that turns fasting into Azadi's metabolic upgrade, a system that rewires your hormones, targets stubborn belly fat, and accelerates fat burning like flipping a hidden switch. Here's the biological truth. Belly fat isn't just stored energy. It's hormonally active tissue. It holds on because your body sees it as protection against stress, nutrient scarcity, and blood sugar instability. In other words, it's not about eating less, it's about teaching your body to burn more. That's why so many people fast but still carry that layer of fat around the midsection. They're using fasting like a calorie restriction tool, not a metabolic training protocol. Let's destroy the myth. Right now, fasting isn't about skipping meals. It's about timing nutrition to control insulin, to teach your mitochondria how to use fat as fuel again. When done the traditional way, fasting gives you good results. But when upgraded, when you tap into your circadian biology, nutrient timing, and cellular recovery systems, it gives you extraordinary results. This upgrade changes everything. Imagine in just 30 days, your body starts responding again. At 90 days, your metabolism begins to reprogram. And by 365 days, one full year of alignment, you've not only burned fat, you've built a metabolism that stays in fat burning mode for life. Stay with me, because your body is ready for the upgrade it's been waiting for. Here's what most people never realize. Your body is a genius at adapting. When you first start fasting, maybe you do 16-8-8. It feels powerful. Hunger fades, energy rises, and fat starts melting off. But then, a few weeks later, progress stalls. The same routine that once triggered fat loss now feels flat. Why? Because your body has mastered it. Just like lifting the same weight at the gym stops building muscle, fasting the same way every day stops challenging your metabolism. The body loves patterns, but transformation demands disruption. When you extend your fasting window intelligently, you reintroduce metabolic pressure. You remind the body, hey, we're not done growing. That's when the real magic begins. Think of it like this: your body runs on two main fuels, sugar and fat. Most people never leave sugar mode because glycogen, the body's stored form of glucose, always fills the tank. During 16-8 fasting, you dip into fat for a few hours, but glycogen refills too quickly. Extend that fast to 18 or 20 hours, and glycogen finally empties. The fuel switch flips. Your mitochondria start burning stored fat, especially from the belly, as their primary energy source. Now, here's the fascinating part. Around the 18-20 hour mark, something extraordinary happens. Insulin, your fat-storing hormone, drops to its lowest point. Growth hormone spikes, sometimes by as much as 500%. This powerful hormonal combination turns your body into a repair machine. You're no longer just burning calories. You're regenerating cells, recycling old proteins, and rebuilding lean tissue while melting fat. This is why longer fasts don't just shrink your waistline, they reshape your metabolism from the inside out. But let's make it real. Imagine your metabolism as a furnace. When you eat frequently or fast too short, you never give that furnace a chance to cool, reset, and reignite fully. It's like constantly tossing small twigs into a fire. It flickers but never blazes. Extending your fast is like letting the furnace rest long enough for all the old ash to clear out. So when you finally add fuel again, it burns hotter, cleaner, and stronger. That's the deeper fat burning zone. Now, you might wonder, won't I lose energy if I go that long without food? Only if you rush the process. The key is intelligent extension. You don't jump from 16-8 to 24 hours overnight. You train for it, just like building endurance in the gym. Start with 17 hours. Hold that for a few days. Then try 18. Once your body adapts, you'll notice something unexpected. Your energy won't drop. It'll stabilize. Hunger waves will shrink. Mental clarity will rise. Why? Because you're finally running on your body's most reliable fuel, stored fat. There's another layer to this: improved insulin sensitivity. Each time you extend your fast, your cells become more responsive to insulin. That means when you do eat, your body stores nutrients more efficiently and burns them faster. It's like fine-tuning the valves of an engine for maximum performance. You stop leaking energy and start channeling it directly into repair and recovery. And don't forget, you don't have to extend every day. In fact, strategically cycling your fasts keeps your metabolism guessing. For example, you might do 16 and 8 5 days a week, then 18 and 6 or a single 24-hour fast on weekends. This variety tells your body, stay adaptable. That's the opposite of metabolic slowdown. It's metabolic flexibility. So, extending your fasting window isn't about deprivation. It's about precision. You're not starving yourself. You're training your metabolism. You're giving your body the time and space it needs to clear out old energy, detoxify cells, and ignite that deep fat burning furnace that's been idle for years. The result: a leaner midsection, sharper focus, and a metabolism that works with you, not against you. This is the first upgrade, and once you experience the difference between a standard fast and an AVE-intelligent fast, you'll never go back. Timing is everything, not just how long you fast, but when you eat. Most people get this part wrong. They think fasting success comes from skipping breakfast or squeezing food into any 8-hour window. But the truth is, your metabolism isn't just governed by hours. It's sensed to light. Your body runs on a 24-hour internal clock called the circadian rhythms. And when your eating aligns with that clock, your fat burning potential multiplies. Let me show you how powerful this is. Imagine two people both doing 16-8 fasting. Person A breaks their fast at 11 a.m. and finishes dinner by 7 p.m. Person B skips breakfast, starts eating at 3 p.m. and eats until 11 at night. Same fasting length, very different results. Why? Because hormones like insulin, cortisol, and melatonin operate on time cues. Eating late, when melatonin rises and insulin sensitivity drops, signals your body to store more fat, especially around the belly. Meanwhile, eating earlier, during daylight, aligns with your body's natural fat burning rhythm. This is where the meal timing blueprint comes in. The way you break your fast determines how your metabolism behaves for the rest of the day. Your first meal is like the conductor's baton. It sets the rhythm. If you break your fast with a high-carb, high-sugar meal, insulin spikes immediately, shutting down fat burning. But if you start with protein, healthy fats, and minerals, your body stays calm. Insulin remains steady, and your cells continue drawing energy from stored fat. That's how you maintain the fat burning momentum that your fast created. There's a biological reason for this. In the morning to early afternoon, your insulin sensitivity is naturally higher. Your body knows sunlight equals activity and fuel use. As the day fades, that sensitivity drops. Eating late, especially past 8 p.m., is like trying to refuel a parked car. That energy doesn't go toward performance, it gets stored. That's why even people who fast but eat late often say, "I'm doing everything right, but my belly fat won't move." The clock matters as much as the calories. Let's make this real with a story. Sarah was a busy 38-year-old who'd been fasting for months. She did 16-8, stayed disciplined, ate clean. But the mirror refused to change. When we looked deeper, her window was 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., right when her metabolism was winding down. We shifted it to 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Same hours, just earlier. For the first week, it felt strange. She wasn't used to eating so soon. But within 21 days, she saw the difference. Her sleep improved, her morning energy spiked, and her lower belly finally started tightening. That's not magic. That's circadian alignment. Here's what's happening under the hood when you finish eating earlier. your body gets more uninterrupted fasting hours overnight. When growth hormone and fat-burning enzymes peak, you wake up in a deeper fat-burning state, ready to burn instead of store. And over time, this consistency, eating at roughly the same times every day, trains your insulin levels to stabilize. Think of it like tuning an instrument. Every time you eat at a predictable rhythm, your body learns when to raise and lower insulin. It becomes efficient, balanced, and responsive, the opposite of hormonal chaos. Now, let's talk nuance. Men and women are not metabolically identical. Men generally respond better to longer fasting and earlier eating windows. Women, because of estrogen and progesterone fluctuations, often do better with slightly shorter fasts and a gentle eating window that starts earlier in the day. A common sweet spot for women, 14:10 or 15:9, with the first meal around mid-morning and dinner no later than early evening. This prevents the hormonal stress response that can happen when fasting too long or eating too late. The power of meal timing isn't just about fat loss. It's about metabolic harmony. When you eat in sync with your body's clock, everything works smoother. Energy stabilizes, cravings fade, and digestion improves. Most importantly, your body becomes predictable in the best way possible. It knows exactly when to burn and when to rest. So, remember, fasting creates the environment, but timing controls the chemistry. Once you master when to eat, not just what to eat, belly fat stops being stubborn. It becomes fuel. And that's when you realize that fasting isn't punishment, it's precision. It's not about eating less. It's about eating on time. Most people think fasting fatigue comes from hunger, but 9 times out of 10, it's actually dehydration and electrolyte loss. When you fast, insulin levels drop, and with it, your kidneys release sodium and water. That's good for flushing out inflammation, but it also means your body starts losing the very minerals that keep energy stable. Without those electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, your metabolism short circuits. You feel tired, foggy, maybe even dizzy. The fat-burning engine is still there, but the spark that powers it goes dim. Think of electrolytes as the S's electrical current that keeps your metabolism switched on. Every heartbeat, every nerve signal, every fat-burning reaction in your mitochondria depends on these tiny charged minerals. When sodium drops, your blood pressure dips and energy plummets. When potassium is low, your muscles weaken and your cells can't efficiently use glucose or fat. And when magnesium runs out, your mitochondria lose rhythm. They literally can't generate energy at the same rate. Fasting without replacing these minerals is like trying to run a high-performance car with no battery cables. The engine looks fine, but it won't start. Now, here's the part most people miss. Hydration isn't just about water. It's about mineralized water. You can drink gallons of plain water and still be dehydrated at the cellular level if you're not replenishing sodium and potassium. In fact, overhydrating without electrolytes can make things worse. It dilutes your mineral balance, leading to cramps, fatigue, and slower fat metabolism. When your electrolytes are balanced, however, something amazing happens. Your body's ability to mobilize fat for energy, called lipolysis, goes up. Proper hydration literally increases fat breakdown because your liver and fat cells depend on electrolyte signals to release stored fatty acids into the bloodstream. Here's a simple metaphor. Your metabolism is like a network of electrical wires, and electrolytes are the current flowing through them. Without that current, the lights flicker. You can have the best fasting window, the perfect meal timing, but if your current is low, your energy output and fat burning efficiency drop too. When electrolytes are abundant, those same pathways light up. You feel focused, stable, energized, and your metabolism runs like it's supposed to. Let's make this practical. Every morning during your fast, start your day with a glass of water and a pinch of quality salt. Himalayan, Celtic, or Redmond's real salt. That small mineral hit tells your adrenal glands, we're safe, we're supported. Throughout the day, keep hydrating, but don't overdo plain water. Add electrolytes strategically, either through mineral packets or natural sources like coconut water, lemon with sea salt, or potassium-rich foods like avocado when you break your fast. And at least a few times a week, include magnesium, either from leafy greens, mineral drops, or a clean supplement to keep your cells firing. You'll notice the difference almost immediately: steady energy through your fasting window, fewer cravings, better focus, and most importantly, improved fat burning. That's because when your hydration is optimized, cortisol, your stress hormone, stays balanced. Chronic dehydration elevates cortisol, which signals the body to store more fat, particularly around the belly. So, every time you ignore your electrolytes, you're not just losing water, you're increasing stress. But when hydration and minerals are dialed in, cortisol relaxes, your body feels safe again, and the signal to burn stored fat gets louder. One of my clients, James, learned this the hard way. He was fasting 20 hours a day, eating clean, training consistently, but he felt drained by afternoon, and his belly fat wouldn't budge. When we looked at his routine, he was drinking lots of filtered water, but zero electrolytes. We made one small change. He added a quarter teaspoon of sea salt to his morning water, plus a magnesium drink in the evening. Within a week, his energy skyrocketed. 2 weeks later, his belt felt looser. Nothing else changed. Same fasting window, same meals, just recharged hydration. This is the missing upgrade that ties everything together. Fasting clears the system, but electrolytes power the system. Without them, your metabolism flickers. With them, it hums. And when your hydration, minerals, and cortisol are all in balance, your body finally feels safe enough to let go of stored belly fat. So don't underestimate this. Every sip you take, every mineral you replenish is a signal, not just to your cells, but to your metabolism. Stay lit, stay strong, keep burning. Because true fasting success isn't about how long you go without food. It's about how well you support your body while it does the work. If fasting is the spark that ignites fat loss, then protein, it keeps the framework that keeps the fire burning strong. It's the architect nutrient, the material your body uses to rebuild, repair, and sustain muscle, even when you're deep in a fasted state. Yet this is the area where most people make their biggest mistake. They fast perfectly, extend their window, stay hydrated, but when it's time to eat, they undereat protein or mistime it entirely. The result: the metabolism slows down, lean tissue weakens, and fat loss eventually hits a wall. Here's the truth: fasting doesn't burn muscle by default. A protein neglect does. When your body senses a lack of amino acids, it downshifts energy production to preserve survival. But if you give it the right amount of protein at the right time, your body not only protects lean muscle, it increases fat burning. Because muscle is metabolically active tissue. The more muscle you preserve and build, the higher your resting metabolic rate, meaning you burn more calories and fat even while you sleep. Let's break down the timing first. The best time to prioritize protein is right when you break your fast. After hours of fasting, your body is like a sponge. Insulin is low, growth hormone is high, and cells are primed to absorb nutrients. When you introduce amino acids, you trigger thermogenesis, a rise in metabolic rate caused by digesting and processing protein. This effect is powerful. Up to 30% of the calories you eat from protein are burned just through digestion. That's why breaking your fast with 30 to 40 grams of clean protein can immediately shift your body back into a fat-burning, muscle-preserving mode. Think of it like refueling a race car. You wouldn't pour cheap fuel into a high-performance engine after a race. You'd give it premium fuel to keep it running clean. Protein does that for your metabolism. It stabilizes your blood sugar, supports hormonal balance, and keeps hunger hormones like ghrelin low for hours. That's why people who break their fast with carbs often crash or binge later. But those who lead with protein stay steady, focused, and satisfied. Now, how much protein is ideal? A simple guideline around 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight per day. Divide that between your meals. So if your goal weight is 150 pounds, you're aiming for 120-150 grams of protein daily, split between 2 meals. Your first meal, the fast-breaking meal, should include at least 30-40 grams to spark thermogenesis. The second meal can include another 30-50 grams to sustain recovery and build lean tissue. This structure ensures your body always has enough amino acids to maintain muscle while accelerating fat loss. And here's where the science gets exciting. Every time you eat protein, your body has to work harder to digest it. That's the thermic effect. Compared to carbs and fats, protein requires more energy to metabolize. This means a greater portion of your total calorie burn comes directly from processing your food. In other words, protein literally forces your body to burn more energy just to use it. And much of that energy comes from fat stores. That's why people who prioritize protein see faster, more targeted fat loss around the midsection. There's a huge myth out there that fasting leads to muscle loss. The truth, fasting actually protects muscle when done correctly. Growth hormone levels rise dramatically during a fast, sometimes up to 5x higher than normal. And that surge tells the body to preserve lean tissue and use stored fat for energy instead. But once you break the fast, you need to feed those muscles the right material to repair and grow stronger. That's where protein steps in. It completes the cycle. Fasting breaks down and clears old tissue. Protein rebuilds it stronger and more efficient. Let's visualize this. Your metabolism is like a complex building. Fasting clears out the debris and old wiring, but protein is the steel framework that holds it all together. Without it, the structure weakens. With it, the foundation becomes stronger, the system runs smoother, and fat-burning engines can run hotter, longer, and safer. One of my clients, Maria, experienced this shift firsthand. She was doing everything right, 18-hour fasts, great hydration, clean eating, but she still felt soft, especially around her midsection. When we tracked her intake, she was eating just 50 grams of protein a day. We increased it to 120 grams with 35 grams right after her fast. Within 3 weeks, her energy stabilized, her cravings vanished, and her belly started tightening. Same fasting, just better fuel. That's the precision most people miss. Fasting opens the door to fat burning, but protein builds the pathway that keeps it open. When you combine both, your body stops fighting to survive. It starts adapting to thrive. Because true metabolic transformation isn't about restriction. It's about reconstruction. And protein is the material that builds your new metabolism from the ground up. Upgrading your fasting isn't just about eating less or waiting longer between meals. It's about learning how to orchestrate your hormones so they play in perfect harmony. Your metabolism isn't a single instrument, it's a full orchestra. When insulin, cortisol, ghrelin, and leptin are in sync, fat loss sounds effortless, smooth, powerful, and sustainable. But when one hormone goes out of tune, the whole system falls into chaos. That's why most people struggle. They're forcing their body to play music without a conductor. Upgraded fasting brings the rhythm back. Let's start with insulin, the lead violin in your metabolic orchestra. Insulin's job is to manage energy storage. When it's high, fat burning shuts off. When it's low, your body can access stored fat for energy. Standard fasting already lowers insulin, but upgraded fasting trains insulin to become flexible. Instead of being constantly high from snacking and sugar spikes, insulin learns to rise and fall naturally, like musical notes. This flexibility is the foundation of fat-burning harmony. It allows your body to move seamlessly between burning glucose and burning fat. Then there's cortisol, the drummer. It sets the rhythm of your energy throughout the day. A steady cortisol beat helps you wake up, focus, and handle stress. But chronic stress, emotional or physical, turns that rhythm into chaos. Too much cortisol signals your body to hold on to fat, especially around the belly. Here's the twist: fasting done wrong can increase cortisol. But when done's right, with proper hydration, electrolytes, sleep, and nutrient timing, fasting actually balances cortisol. It teaches your body to stay calm in the absence of food. You stop living in stress mode, and your metabolism stops clinging to fat for protection. Next, meet ghrelin, your hunger hormone, and leptin, your satiety hormone. These two are like backup singers, controlling appetite and energy balance. When you eat all the time, ghrelin never gets quiet and leptin stops responding. That's why cravings feel uncontrollable. Your body literally can't hear its own fullness signals. Fasting resets this relationship. During an extended fast, ghrelin's rhythm calms down and leptin's voice becomes clear again. Suddenly, you don't crave junk, you crave nourishment. Hunger becomes predictable, not chaotic. That's the beginning of food freedom. This is where metabolic flexibility comes in, the art of switching between fuel sources effortlessly. Most people are stuck in sugar burning mode because they constantly feed their bodies carbohydrates. Fasting forces a shift. It depletes glycogen stores, nudging your metabolism to start burning fat. But true metabolic flexibility means being able to shift back and forth, using fat for fuel when fasting and glucose efficiently when refeeding. You become what I call dual fuel efficient. That's why a strategic refeeding and carb cycling are so powerful. Once or twice a week, you intentionally introduce clean carbohydrates, things like sweet potatoes, squash, or fruit, to remind your metabolism that it's adaptable. Think of it as giving your orchestra a change in tempo. The body thrives on rhythm, not monotony. These refeeds restore glycogen, lower stress hormones, and keep your thyroid active. And paradoxically, they often accelerate fat loss by keeping your metabolism responsive instead of sluggish. When you learn to cycle between fasting and feeding, fat burning and recovery, you build a metabolism that can handle anything. Imagine your body as a grand orchestra. Insulin plays the melody of energy control. Cortisol keeps the rhythm of focus and calm. Ghrelin and leptin provide the harmony of appetite and satisfaction. And you, through upgraded fasting, are the conductor. When you understand how to tune each instrument, the music becomes effortless. You're no longer forcing fat loss, your body performs it naturally. This harmony is what metabolic mastery feels like. You wake up with steady energy, not sugar crashes. You can go hours without food and still perform at your best. You enjoy a meal, even a high-carb one, without guilt or bloat because your body knows exactly what to do with it. Cravings disappear because your hormones are balanced. Food stops controlling you. You control food. And that's the ultimate freedom. Fasting becomes more than a routine. It becomes a rhythm, a cycle of stress and recovery, hunger and nourishment, discipline and flow. When you reach this level, belly fat isn't something you chase away. It's something that naturally leaves when your body finally feels safe, balanced, and efficient. Because the truth is, metabolic mastery isn't about restriction, it's about rhythm. When you learn how to conduct your hormones, when insulin, cortisol, ghrelin, and leptin all play their parts, your body makes music again. Fat loss becomes effortless, energy becomes stable, and for the first time in years, you feel in tune with your body. That's what freedom looks like, not another diet, but a life lived in metabolic harmony. What if I told you that the body you've been chasing isn't something you have to earn? It's something you can activate, because that's what happens when you live in upgraded fat burning mode. You're no longer trying to force results. You're working as with your biology, not against it. You've upgraded fasting from a short-term tool into a long-term metabolic lifestyle, one built on rhythm, intelligence, and precision. You've learned that the secret isn't doing more fasting, it's fasting smarter. You discovered the first upgrade, extending your fasting window intelligently, breaking past that 16-8 plateau to reach the deeper metabolic zone where true fat burning begins. You realized your body isn't just counting hours, it's responding to energy patterns. And when you stretch that window strategically, you don't just lose weight, you retrain your metabolism to run on fat like it was designed to. Then came the second upgrade, the meal timing blueprint. You learned that when you eat is just as powerful as what you eat. Aligning your meals with your circadian rhythm turned your body from a confused energy hoarder into a synchronized fat burning machine. You stopped eating late, broke your fast with purpose, and discovered the peace that comes from rhythm, the natural balance between fasting and feeding that your cells crave. And then you added the fuel that completes the system, hydration and electrolytes. You realized fasting fatigue wasn't weakness, it was a missing charge. By replenishing sodium, potassium, and magnesium, you turned your metabolism back on, steady, sharp, efficient. You learned that water isn't just hydration, it's communication. Every mineral you restore is a signal that tells your body you're safe, you can burn again. Next came protein precision, an architect nutrient that rebuilds and strengthens your fat-burning framework. You stopped fearing food and started feeding metabolism. You discovered that protein isn't just for muscle, it's for momentum. Breaking your fast with amino acids didn't slow fasting results, it amplified them. You felt it, higher energy, tighter skin, a firmer body that finally responded. And finally, you learned to conduct the orchestra, mastering hormone synergy and metabolic flexibility. You understood that insulin, cortisol, ghrelin, and leptin aren't enemies. They're instruments. When you tune them through strategic fasting, refeeding, and rhythm, they start working for you. You don't just burn fat, you orchestrate it. That's when you stop surviving and start thriving. Now picture this. At 30 days, the first signs of transformation appear. Lighter mornings, fewer cravings, deeper sleep. Your belly feels less inflamed, your clothes fit differently, and you start realizing that your body isn't fighting you anymore. It's cooperating. At 90 days, something deeper happens. You're not just losing fat, you're changing fuel systems. Hunger stabilizes, focus sharpens. You no longer think about food every hour. Your body has learned to trust its own energy. The midsection that once felt stubborn begins to shrink. And more importantly, your mind quiets. You feel calm, metabolically calm. Then, at 365 days, your biology is fully reprogrammed. You wake up energized, not exhausted. Your metabolism runs like a clean engine, flexible, fast, efficient. You don't count calories or fear meals. You know when to fast, when to fuel, and when to rest. You've stepped into a different identity, not someone trying to burn fat, but someone living in fat-burning mode. That's the vision, a life where fasting isn't a phase but a flow. You've activated your body's ancient intelligence, the same system your ancestors used to thrive, not just survive. You've turned modern fasting into a biological language your body understands. And once you learn to speak that language, fat loss stops being the goal. It becomes the side effect of living aligned with your design. You are the proof that your body isn't broken, it's brilliant. It just needed the right rhythm, the right signals, the right trust. You've stopped chasing fat loss. You've stepped into mastery. You've upgraded not just your fasting, but your life. And this is just the beginning. Because once you've unlocked upgraded fat burning mode, the next question becomes, how do you keep it forever? How do you make this state your permanent normal? That's what I'll show you in the next masterclass.